Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press Podcast, a college basketball experience. We have another, and probably the most energetic, and I'm lost. I guess I'm still Luke Taylor. We got Sam Davidson. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us on Instagram at Full Court Press B-Ball and Twitter at LT and Sammy D1. And don't forget, if you love us, you like us, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and down, like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube page below. But we've got, I don't even know, man. I'm like,
we've
my
got
mind.
So much energy coming our way right here. Like this is, it's not surprising. If you know the guy, you know he's bringing energy. Like you know, like it's just the enthusiasm, the energy, the love for the game, the love for life. Like I mean, you can feel it.
The last part he said, when you always ask that last question, you know, to talk about the boosters and what can you tell about the alumni, the boosters, the fans. It's like, we got to treat our wives better. We got to treat our children better. We got to do more. And I feel like I can just run through the front door, brick wall even too.
Yeah. I mean, that's that is kind of like that blue collar mentality with the program that we're going to be talking about here, which is the Wyoming Cowboys with our next guest, Sundance Wicks. And I mean, what's that?
He liked my introduction too.
No, it was a good introduction. I mean, it's so refreshing to have guys like him who are getting the opportunities he's getting, and so well-deserved as well. I mean, what he did at Green Bay, Wisconsin, the Phoenix last year, going from a 3-win team that he took over to an 18-14. I mean, really kind of the Cinderella story throughout the year. One of the biggest turnarounds in college in D1 history, right? And you knew he was going to get some offers as the season went through. And then when the Wyoming job opened up, it's a homecoming for him. You know, he's born and raised in Wyoming, coached at Wyoming with Jeff Linder. And it's a natural transition for him to take over this role. And I can tell you, I mean, I'm up in northern Colorado, as you know, right next to the border of Wyoming. The excitement in Wyoming, I'm not sure I've seen it. You know, even when they went on an incredible 2-year run with Coach Linder, like they have so much excitement that Sundance is overseeing the program right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how can you not? Have you met him?
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's like even what you said, like, you know, with our wives and our kids and all that. I mean, he talks about being bigger than basketball, you know, BTB. Yeah. And I mean, he talks about building that culture and showing up as, you know, an everyday guy and what that means. And I mean, the next 45, 50 minutes, I mean, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of life lessons, a lot about what's going on in the landscape of college basketball. Like when he dug into the analytics of how to win at a mid-major or high major program. I know that was a lot of math for you, but I know,
it's like a bobblehead.
I absolutely loved it. Like I was just like, oh man, that's fantastic. You're a fan of his attire and his apparel. Yeah. Like it's you guys are both big guys who dress well. So I knew you had that in common.
Yep. So let's get into it. I think that the Mountain West, you know how much you've turned my love into the Mountain West. With him in there, I mean, it is really a coach's league. When you look at Coach D at San Diego State, Dutcher, whatever, Duker. No, but he's the man. You got New Mexico with Coach Pitino came back, Nevada, Alford, Medved. I mean, you go Calhoun at Utah State. I mean, I know UNLV with Coach Kruger. I mean, you've got Coach Miles at San Jose State. I mean, it's a
coach's league.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be another incredible year in the Mountain West, and there's going to be a lot of unknowns, but there's going to be some sneaky good teams, and I've got Wyoming up there that's going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So we're going to go into it. This was our kind of our coup d'etat to our Mountain West week. We had Coach Gloria Navarez, the Mountain West commissioner, a couple days before. She wants to come back. We had a blast, and she has so much energy. I mean, I'm even more excited about the Mountain West after talking to these two fine individuals. So let's get into Coach Sundance Wicks from the University of Wyoming. Cowboys, baby.
Let's get it, LT.
All right, Sammy, this could be our the least energetic podcast we ever had. We have the Juice Man now coming to the stage, Sundance Wicks, the University of Wyoming Cowboys. Welcome to the Full Court Press Podcast, a college basketball experience.
That intro was an experience. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was an experience right there. I try to get my wife to do as many impersonations as you possibly can. She'll never take the bait. Like, I just want somebody to just change inflection like you just did right there.
Oh,
you better be careful. Yeah, LT will start singing songs. Like, we'll get into that, but it's it's wild. We're gonna have some fun here today. I mean, I'm up in northern Colorado. I know how excited this entire part of the country is for your arrival.
I mean, you're in Fort Collins. I'm not sure they're that excited about it.
Fort Collins, no. But, I'm North Fort Collins. I'm like 25 miles to the border. It's all good. It's all good. I'm ready for some rivalries to get back. It's
Sam, that's like saying the one fan in Columbus is excited for Michigan football.
Well, I mean, I think wherever you live, and I didn't grow up here, but I've been here for 8 years. It's like wherever you live, you start to get a little bias towards your hometown team and everything like that. And it was like when they announced Sundance Wicks is coming back to Wyoming, and then they start putting all this stuff on social media, you getting off of jets and like the Juice Man and like bringing the boom back to the dome. I love it. Like, I think it's so good for college basketball. I love hearing that, when somebody's like, this is my dream job. And I want to get into a little bit about that as well. You growing up in Gillette, Wyoming, and kind of going through this coaching circuit, for a little bit. And then it's like, you get this call. What was that? Like, what were those weeks like,
This stuff is crazy. I mean, to be honest, it's wild, right? Like, this is all right. Let's rewind here. So I was at Green Bay, right? And I'm doing
Coach.
Yeah.
If you can win at Green Bay, you can win anywhere.
You're full of crap. All right. LT, I tell you right now, like it's the people that make the play special, right? Like, you got to get the right people. You got to get
that's what Coach Todd Kowalczyk said, who coached there.
I mean, he's a legend, man. Todd's a legend. He was there a long time, man. And I followed in the footsteps of Todd and Brian Wardle. And obviously, you can go back further and you go to Dick Bennett, Mike Heidemann, right? Like, there were some damn good coaches at Green Bay. I mean, there's always been – Green Bay has been a coaching hotbed for the most part. I mean, you can look back at the history of it. Coach Dave Buss was probably the only coach in the history of the game to take a team from NAI to Division II to Division I. I mean, across 3 levels, right? And so, like, you're talking about a guy who did that in 10 years. God rest his soul. I mean, he just passed, but that's a legend right there. Green Bay GOAT, as we like to call him. But so anyways, I'm at Green Bay, right? And I'm at a coach's clinic. I'm doing the head coach training center down in Orlando, Florida. And I'm sitting there, and I'm supposed to be a little guest speaker for him, just to talk about mid-major money ball. How do you win in the margins, right? You don't have all the resources everybody else has. And as we're going through this, I like to go take notes, watch everybody talk. There's a panel, there's a search firm panel. There's Heath Schroyer, who was a former Wyoming coach who's now at McNeese State, talking about, hiring process and what they look for. Florida State athletic director as well. And these all these assistant coaches and aspiring head coaches are sitting down there, and they're just waiting to hear these guys talk about how you become a head coach. What are you looking for? And every search firm that gets up there, and every AD that gets up there, they all talk about all these different things. And I'm laughing a little bit because none of this shit actually works out the way you think it's going to work out, right? So
nope.
So you're sitting there, they're like, I'm going to go get this job. Good luck, right? My college coach, Don Meyer, he used to say, you don't find the job finds you. So just be great where you're at, right? And then at the end of the day, you may get lucky, and somebody may call you, and they may say, like, you're the guy for the job, but timing is everything as well. So I go up there, and I have this mid-major money ball talk, all this stuff I was going to say to these guys about how to win in the margins. I'm like, you know what? Let's just talk about how you get jobs. And like all the stuff that those guys said, yes, heed the advice of the search firms, heed the advice of the athletic directors, heed the advice of people that have ran this race and can tell you what you're looking for. But also know, like, you have no idea when your time's going to come. So you better just be ready. And I say that as a guy who, humbly, I talk a lot about my past at Northern Illinois. We got fired at Northern Illinois. San Francisco, it didn't work out. There's 2 years left on the contract. We got let go at San Francisco. And so I'm sitting here going like, I'm not sure. I'm not good luck Chuck. I know that. All right. So I'm bad. I must be bad luck wherever I go. And I tell these assistants that as you're going through this, just stop worrying about what you got to say and who you got to say it to and the right room to be in and all that. You stop worrying about that stuff. Just go do the work and dive into it. And then, yes, you do have to network, but it can't be one of those shamelessly self-promoting network type things. You still got to be pretty damn good when you get the job. And so I go through all this hired, fired. I never got in front of a search firm. When I got hired at Green Bay, the search firm didn't know who I was. Okay, that was the reality. They're like, I have no idea who this guy is. You're in the mix now, but I guess nice to meet you, how you doing? And there wasn't a search firm at Wyoming, right? Your relationships, you're a walking resume. Everything you do, wherever you go, how you treat people, you're a walking resume. And so getting to this point right now was kind of this up, down, all around. I mean, you're talking about a GA living out of a garage for $500 at Northern State. I got really lucky after being a GA. Coach Meyer had a great relationship with Ricardo Patton. He always liked hiring Don Meyer guys. Yep. I went to the University of Colorado at 24 as the youngest assistant in the Big 12, doing scouting reports against Kevin Durant, right? And then go from there to Northern Illinois, and then doesn't work out. Kind of have to reinvent yourself in the basketball sabbatical. Probably going to Arizona and starting Arizona Power Basketball Academy was one of the best things I ever did. Just got me back to my roots. And then going to San Francisco, then back to Northern State Division II, and then going to the national championship, and then losing on a last-second shot in the national championship, but then getting your first head coaching job at Missouri Western. And that started the streak of, kind of as a coach, you get an identity. You take over jobs that haven't been pretty good. And worst 2-year stretch in program history at Missouri Western when I took the job. When Linder got the job at Wyoming, it came with him. Worst 2-year stretch in Wyoming basketball history. And then coach took him to the NCAA tournament in year 2. Green Bay, worst 3-year stretch in program history. And so you're literally just going, I don't take very good jobs, right? Like, and so Coach Meyer said, like, there's 3 types of jobs. There's 3 types of jobs. There's stepping stones, all right? There's kidney stones. And then there's headstones, the ones that kill you, right? So there's stepping stone jobs, and you see the guys who take the stepping stones. There's the kidney stone jobs. Those are the ones that are giving you a lot of pain in your side. Then there's the headstones, man. And those are the ones where you just die at. And you don't get that. You don't want to take a lot of those. You could take some stepping stones, you could take some kidney stones, but a lot of times you got to be a kind of a nut job to take the headstone ones.
So, yeah. but it's interesting though. You took the job May 12th. Jeff Linder resigned, went to Texas Tech as assistant coach. Was there any kind of hesitation of taking the job?
Yeah. I mean, look, I signed a contract extension at Green Bay. And my family was happy up there. We were entrenching ourselves in the community. There absolutely is.
Whoa, time out. You've lived a winter there, right?
Oh, I mean, guys, look, none of you guys, all these people that talk about winters, like, you haven't lived beyond the wall like Jon Snow. Okay. Like Aberdeen, South Dakota is cold, man. It's cold. Aberdeen, South Dakota.
I used to play in that conference, in the Midwestern Collegiate Conference in UW Green Bay. I've been to freaking Green Bay in January and February. That's damn Jon Snow territory.
I thought it was beautiful. I mean, I love the winter. I'm going to be honest with you. Aberdeen winters, Laramie winters aren't that bad. Green Bay winters aren't that bad.
30 years since LT was up there. Nah, it's
all good. South Dakota is the 5th coldest place in the world outside of International Falls, outside of Duluth. All right? Like, you got your teeth in Aberdeen, you're fine.
Yeah, good recruiting, really fertile recruiting area though in Aberdeen.
But back to your point, like, yes, there was a hesitation. You talk to your family. It's hard to move twice in 2 years. I mean, in less than 10 months, to sit there and sell a house, pack it up, move it, and then do the same thing and come back. It's hard to do that. And it's in the Green Bay community. I got to give a shout out to them. I mean, there's one of the best communities I've ever been involved in. They love basketball. They got on board so fast. There's so many amazing people, and it's just a unique community with the Packers, Lambeau being in town. It really is a vibe up there. And so,
I want to transition into Wyoming in a second, but while we're talking about Green Bay, like you took over a team that won 3 games, right? And you said you start to kind of create this coaching identity around the country about who you are, what you can do, what you're really great at. And it seems like you said, you rebuild programs, right? This was like what I read was the 9th best turnaround in Division I history last year. Like at what point last year where you're like, okay, we're a special team?
Yeah, and I think it was actually 6th. So
wow.
In episode 5 and 362, which is an awesome documentary. That was one of the coolest things we did. Content is king, man. Mm-hmm. We had a little bit of foresight there. We've won. We're a little bit dumb luck, right? We had these guys, David Merrill and Noah Heisler, who are phenomenal content producers, and they helped create this documentary, made it come to life. And when I pitched it to them, I said, well, one of 2 things is going to happen. We're either going to be the worst team in the country and it's going to be a train wreck, and so everyone's going to want to watch that, or we're going to have one hell of a season and it's going to be really cool and people are going to want to watch that. There wasn't going to be any middle ground there, right? When you're taking over, statistically the worst program in college basketball.
Yeah.
So why didn't you go to Detroit Mercy then?
That's a low blow, man. Low blow, man. Low blow.
We're huge fans of the mid majors. We try to give as much credibility because that's where a lot of great coaching stories transition into, right? Yeah. And then you get that Power 5 or Power 6 or high major opportunity and everything. But it was really fun to follow what you did there last year from an outside look. So we had a couple episodes with different Horizon League coaches early on in the season, and it was like,
who do we have, Sam?
We had a couple, didn't we?
But who?
We had Wardell, right?
No.
Wardle.
Come on, man. You don't know your damn Horizon League? That's the offshoot of the Midwestern Collegiate. Let me break it down to you. We got Coach Camp.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Kaufman, who's still thinking about some of our questions.
Coach Kaufman.
They're both OGs. Those guys are both OGs. I love
Kaufman. Was great. Yeah.
We had Wright State Coach Nagy, who has gone to Southern Illinois. It seems like everybody we interviewed left for a new job.
Yeah. Hey, good luck. They got promoted throughout their tenure. So
did anybody get fired?
It seems like your name got popped up more as the season came along, being like, oh, we got to look out for these guys.
Yeah, I guess to your question, when did you know you were going to be good, or when did you know you had something, right? You don't really know when you're in it because it's so. As coaches, we'd always distort our reality. It's kind of one of those weird sadistic things that we do. We distort our competitive reality. It's never good. It's never bad. It's always trying to find the edge. But the minute you start thinking like you're good, right, that's when you get kind of knocked down, and you're one major injury away, like we talked about. Noah Reynolds going down from just becoming, pretty vulnerable there. But I think there was a stretch, right, where we had Wright State at home, and you hadn't, Wright State had been dominating the league for a while and really, 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 really been tough to beat. And we hadn't swept them, I think, in 9 years. And we ended up sweeping Wright State last year. And then so when you go on this run of, you start stacking wins, you get 3 wins in a row. And we played little small-sided games within the games in the season, because you can get overwhelmed if you look at the whole schedule, right? And so our thing was, we're going to play 5 games. We're going to play 5-game series. It's kind of like little mini playoff series. We want to be 3-2. And we started that at the beginning of the year, and we were 2-3, and then we were 2-3, and we just couldn't quite get that 3-2. And so when we really celebrated the singles there, we celebrate the base hits, but we celebrate when we get to 3-2, or we get to 4-1. All of a sudden, then you get a 5-game stretch, we're in 5 in a row. And now that's when you start realizing, we're learning how to win. And that's the first part, is learning how not to lose, right? When you've taken over a losing program and got losing habits and losing traits, is that you got to learn how to win. And winning is 3-2. If you just get to 3-2, that's a winning record, right? So can't worry about the past. What's been done has been done. And we just kept having a memory like a goldfish, man. Just kept erasing those bad 2 and 3s, but realizing this is the process. And we never got really overwhelmed with being, up and coming or whatnot. Just nobody expected us to do anything, right? And that's kind of, I've got a lot of experience in that, being picked dead freaking last at Missouri Western, being picked dead freaking last at Green Bay. we're going to be pretty close to the bottom here at Wyoming too. It's nothing new for that narrative. But that's preseason prognosticators, and that's their job, right? And it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So it was an amazing journey in that sense, because the hardest, I think we're really good at culture. That's what I think we're great. I'm not going to tell you M&X is the greatest X's and O's guys. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you're probably not going to see me on some sort of, Twitter clip of just this play, look how they run this stuff. I steal everything, but I think we're really good at culture. That's what I think we're good at. So that belief side of it is massive for us. But people think you just wake up and you're like, oh, I believe, it's Christmas morning every time. And it's not. It's our guys realize that true happiness comes from earned success, and our guys earn it every day in practice. They earn it because I make them earn it. And we got to, we got to bring your own juice mantra around here. But if they don't bring it, like, we're going to take it. And that's the reality of this, is that they have a standard that they're upheld to every single day for their energy, their effort, and their enthusiasm. And if they don't bring it every single day, then we always say, if you don't bring it, then know that we're obligated as coaches to take it, because we got to get what we got to get every single day. And it's really, at first, when you see it, like, it looks pretty bad. You come into practice when you take over a program and you're like, this is not to where we at. But then you come 6 months later and you're like, damn, that's night and day from where they were. And that was Green Bay. It was night and day from day one in the summer to June 17th last year in the summer to at the end of it all in March. I mean, they're like, that's a completely different program.
With all the changes that are happening in college athletics, right, with transfer portal, NIL, all that stuff, has building a culture with young men changed over the past decade or two?
Well, I've been very adamant about this. I don't, even back when you didn't have the transfer portal and it wasn't as transfer dominant, I always said culture doesn't take 4 years, right? Because people are like, I got to get a cycle. I got to get my guys in here. I got to get my, my culture's got to hit here 4 years. Right? You don't have 4 years anymore to do that stuff. And I never thought you needed 4 years. What you needed was intentionality. You needed a relentless energy every single day. You needed an undying and unwavering belief in what you're doing, and then making others feel it, and then bringing others into the fold. We talk about shared sacrifice. Our stages of team building are shared sacrifice, shared ownership, individual responsibility, then collective accountability. And those are our 4 stages of team building. And what we do is we share in the sacrifice. Every single one of us, our assistant coaches, all the way down to our managers, we sweat with the players. We share in that sacrifice. So if we're sharing in that, right, we're also owning that. I own a workout too. I just got done working out our foreman today. I was sweating my ass off. And we're going at it every single day. But that's part of creating that belief, is fighting for your culture. And, you take a day off of that, you know what, your players are going to feel that. And then you're going to lose 2 days of culture. So build it with belief every single day and from the ground up. And all of a sudden culture resonates itself and rears its beautiful head 10 months later, because it's not what you say, it's what you do, right? We got to do it every single damn day.
Yeah. And I used to do that when I used to coach Sam. We used to do these Friday fun runs, and they would run and I'd ride a bicycle. Is that creating culture?
It's like, it's the guy, who's sitting on the bike, instead of being on the treadmill, but close. Like,
yeah, it was close. It was close. So what I want to know is,
one of these two, like, pedal faster.
No. But it's funny. So you took the job middle of May, literally middle of May 12th. What did the roster look like? And it looked like, and I know this because you've got to pass with somebody. You kept some of the assistant coaches. You retained some of those assistant coaches. I know you were with Coach Nick in San Francisco with Coach Rex, who we had on the podcast.
Yep.
What did the roster look like? And then what did the roster look like? And then what was your goals, so late in kind of the transfer portal season?
Great question. I mean, I always tell people we took the job at midnight, right? This is like, we might have been signing it. I'll just do it. I call it Wikipedia. If I don't really know the facts, right? Instead of saying Wikipedia, I'll say, like, just check my Wikipedia. And it's just a play on words here, but we may have been the last team signing players. I mean, we signed guys June 26th. We started workouts July 1st. And so, we had to punt everything. We moved our camps. We were still recruiting. Green Bay was amazing for me personally and for our staff on understanding how to navigate the transfer portal and taking that program over, because we signed 10 guys in 53 days. We signed 10 guys in 27 days here. And 10 guys in 27 days.
How many of them speak English?
Guys on campus for 4 days, right?
It's crazy, but like we didn't really start signing guys, till we got the job here, till we got on campus, like basically 1 month. So 10 guys in 1 month, and you're having to, and you're praying that you get all of the background stuff right on guys, and you don't miss some things, and because you have a stable of horses that you try to keep, ready to go. And we brought some of those guys from Green Bay that we'd vetted, that we knew who they were kind of from a character standpoint. But ultimately, like we're gonna err on the side of, we're just gonna make sure you get the right person. And the basketball side of this stuff will take care of itself. But what I loved about Jeff Linders, I'd always known Jeff and the Wyoming staff before, and always recruiting highly skilled, highly intelligent players. Right. That I know. And so from the roster, what it was like, we weren't going to worry about the character of the guys on the roster. We weren't going to worry about their skill. Right. We just knew those guys, the guys that stayed, were going to be those type of dudes. That's what Jeff has always done. And he's won at a lot doing that. And so it was easy for me to work for Jeff because we recruited the same type of players, same type of way at Green Bay. And then just finding guys that have weaponries, right? We like guys who can shoot it. Shooting is a separator. So we like guys that can shoot it. And that was the difference for us at Green Bay, is we could stretch the floor and space it out, give our guards gap gravity, so they could work well in those gaps, and then make sure that we put the defense in a tough situation, deciding what you're going to do with those shooters in those corners. So that roster turned over quick, but that was all part because of how we had to do it at Green Bay. It's a lot easier, it's a lot easier to sell Wyoming's winning program and recent success than it was Green Bay's when we got the job. But it's all like you're only as good as your last game, as they say, right? And you're only as good as your last season. So you still have to kind of revamp things the way you want to do it.
Yeah, you're only as good as the sushi you have at the arena, right, Sam?
You guys got sushi at that arena. It's so
sushi at the we had sushi here.
Yeah. It was like okay. Yeah, it was.
Would they fly that in fresh daily?
Yeah, from the Poudre River. That's where it's coming from. So you guys are now month and a half, 2 months into kind of summer workouts and kind of transitioning into the academic season calendar starting. Like any guys surprised you that have come in?
We just started school 2 days ago. Right. So up on my board right there, that's 69 right there. 69 days until we play our first game.
Okay.
69. I mean, that's how fast this thing comes.
Crazy.
It's nuts. We got here July 1. We're sitting here. We have no idea who we are July 1. And we do 6 weeks of workouts. We send them home for 2 weeks. We get them back. And now we're 70 days before we play. Right.
Yeah.
And, so you got to kind of be miracle workers, and you got to work a little bit of that magic. But that's why this was so cool about this profession, is that you get to dive into this every single day. Right. You get to you don't have to, you get to. I love this crap, man. This is what we're here for. And so for our guys, I think we had one goal going into the summer, was learn how to become an everyday dude, right? Learn how to become an everyday dude. I think that's so hard nowadays. And this is a crazy number here, but if you think about this, if you transferred every year for 4 years, right? So
AJ Store. His name's AJ Store, coach.
I'm not naming names, but if you transferred every year for 4 years, you're going to lose between a quarter to a third of your training season. Okay. Think
transfer credits, did you say? Did you say transfer credits?
I said your training season.
Oh.
Think about this. Yeah, your training season. So you leave, you hit the portal. You said, season's over March. Like, I'm going to transfer. March, April, May, 3 months. All right. 3 months, 4 years. That's a year. You lose a year of training by transferring every time you go. So the guys that stay or are more consistent at their places are actually gaining a competitive advantage. The programs that can keep their core of their roster in check, you may lose front end and back end. I always think like if you can keep the middle 60% of your roster intact, but you can lose maybe your front end to it's a bidding war out there, or you lose your back end because guys aren't happy playing, but you keep your core intact. Right now, you get those guys from training age. We talk about training age. There's a lot of programs that are getting guys that have a low training age. They've been in college 5-6 years, but they haven't been training consistently for 5-6 years. So their training age is that of a freshman or a sophomore, but they're 5th year, 6th year seniors. And so what you're trying to do is are you getting guys from good programs that are well equipped? And I'll use Wyoming as an example, man. Wyoming is like, they produce really good players. All right, during the transfer portal. Noah Reynolds for us at Green Bay, Graham Ike at Gonzaga, Jeremiah Oden out at Charlotte. Xavier Dussel has still been hitting threes all over the conference, right? So that 21-22 season when those guys, and when the portal could leave, when you left the portal, like produced really good players because you know why? We had a really damn good program. That's why. Mm-hmm. And those guys are successful at those places because this program's a damn good program. And so you got to look at what type of players are you getting out of this portal? Where are they coming from? What's their training age? Not their age. Fine, great. He wants to get older. You get older, but you get a young training age. You're not older. I'm just telling you that right now. You're trying to install or rewire 5 years, 4 years of bad habits from a guy who was never committed to a program. And that is a weird paradigm shift right here when people start thinking about, well, what's the portal like? What's it like in there? Well, there's some kids in there that are pretty damn good and that have been trained for a long time. And there's some kids in there who are old and you think you're getting older, but are really young from their training age standpoint. So I don't know what rabbit hole that just went down, but that was a rabbit hole. I just went off cuff right there. So
that's that new math, you know, it's like, I mean, it seems like you're an analytics guy. Like, yep. I mean, you're giving talks about, you know, winning at a mid-major level, Moneyball and mid-major. I saw you just hired Patrick Stacey, who's I've been following him since he helped Kansas win the national with his, I think, Jam basketball intelligence. Yep. And I mean, and it's like, I've been waiting for him to get a great coaching job, just kind of following his journey. And I mean, it's like, because it's this new math that you're trying to figure out how do you win with less, right? When you're trying to turn a program around. And so, whatever rabbit hole you just went down, I thought it was great.
Well, so yes, like who's impressed, right? Well, there's so much for us that we don't really know right now, but we let's talk about numbers for a second. All right. Mm-hmm. So how did we mid-major Moneyball our roster a little bit? Because Patrick Stacey helped us out a ton of that because he has unbelievable algorithms out there that we have customized for our program and for the things that I value that are important, right? Different winning and losing metrics. Everybody knows that like points, everybody loves to see points and rebounds and assists and all those things. But what about like the other 4 factors plus? Like what about steals, you know, blocks, you know, all the foul rate, free throw rate, right? I think getting to the free throw lines, like in Moneyball, is like getting a walk, right? If you can get if you have a high free throw rate, you can get to the free throw a lot. Like you're getting on base, right? That's what we want. Like, can we just get on base so we can create runs? Well, if you get fouled enough, if you're a guy who pins a lot of fouls and you have a high free throw rate and you get the free throw line a lot, you're getting walked a lot. You're getting free pitches, man. Taking pitches. And so for us, like Scotty Abube is a prime example of how we could win in the transfer portal. Scotty played 12 and a half minutes a game at Southern Illinois, right? His 69% field goal percentage, 69% effective field goal percentage, which might have been like one of the top 3 or 4 in the country. Now, Ken Palm doesn't love you because Ken Palm, you need to play a certain amount of minutes to be able to get ranked nationally. And Ken Palm is fine, but now that doesn't solve the problem of how you find a big in a transfer portal. Well, bigs are coveted and they're paid a lot of money, right? What you find out is, all right, this guy played 12 and a half minutes a game. He's 6'9", 275. He's a big load. He's got all the tools. He's just going to be undervalued because of the amount of minutes he played. And so when you're averaging 6.5 points and 3.5 rebounds in 12.5 minutes on a per 40-minute average, you're averaging the same amount of points as Zach Edey and Great Osabar. Mm-hmm. Now, you're not playing 40 right now, but projection-wise,
transfer right over
12.5 to 20. Let's get him to 22. All right, so now we're taking that 6.5 and 3.5 to 13 and 8. 13 and 8, 9 in the Mountain West, I would take that any day, twice on Sunday.
Sure.
But like that's a projection. Now, does that model win? I don't know, but that's why you have analytics. If we had to go if you had to go actually like realize that value and pay for that out there in the portal, we can't afford it. Most people can't afford that. But if on a projection scale you can, well, then maybe you're winning in the margins right there.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Are you able to keep up, LP?
The only thing I was thinking about is what new
corn dogs, Jack.
No. What new houndstooth blazer collection are you going to add this year?
Oh man!
I got some stuff coming. I got some stuff.
I got some stuff too, Coach. I got some stuff for you also. I like a nice blazer and some like multicolored shoes. I might just add.
I got some stuff coming, LT, and I'm telling you, like brown and gold, it's like you're going to have to get creative. Like Green Bay, I could do some different shades of green and stuff like that. There ain't a lot of shades of brown out there, right? Like it's, but we're going to get pretty freaky with it. All right. And my guy BMO in Kansas City, shout out BMO. All right. Bespoke by Brian Morris, BMO. He's got me some custom shirts, a couple custom blazers coming in hot. I'm still a guy who loves to wear suits on the sidelines. All right. Like I honor the past. I mean, that's how I was raised in this culture. It was like Ricardo Pat, man. He was the sharpest dress coach I ever worked for. That dude was slick. I remember showing up this is a great story, showing up to the Colorado basketball offices inside Folsom Field when I was 24 years old. And in South Dakota, Don Meyer wore the same brown khakis with pin stains in his pockets, for 60 years. Same hat, same khakis every single day, right? That's who he was. And so our dress code, let's just say our dress code probably wasn't one of those dress codes where you're like, pretty tough to meet it in Aberdeen. So I'm wearing khaki cargo pants, khaki cargo shorts, double XL polos that are too big, that do not fit whatsoever. I mean, in today's metrosexual society, I would have never made it right. I way too baggy. But I've advanced in my little stature of clothing lines. So I get down to Colorado. I'm wearing my khaki cargo shorts and my double XL polo into the office. And he looks at me and he goes, "What the hell are you wearing?" And he's, "Don't you ever walk in my offices ever again looking like that." He says, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take your ass down to Nordstrom's. You're going to open up a credit card. And you're going to buy some nice pressed pants, all right, hemmed, tailored, right? And you're going to get nice button downs. And you're going to buy some dress shoes. And then you're going to walk in this office like you work at University of Colorado." And he said, "You got to remember this, Dance." He always called me Dance Man. "Dance Man, you got to remember this, Dance Man. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have." And he dressed. It was immaculate every single day. And that man is a Renaissance man. He taught me about sushi. He taught me about coffee. I didn't know crap. I didn't know any of that stuff coming from Wyoming to South Dakota. Sushi, coffee, golf, right? He could school you on anything. And number one, just dress code. And so I always respected that and always loved that and always wanted to on the sidelines, at least especially when we're at home games nowadays. Traveling with suits is a little tough. Nobody likes to do that anymore. But at home games, we'll always be dressed up, always be in a suit, and on the road, man, we'll be in our Don Meyer khakis with ink stains in them.
So just bring a steamer, get one of those steamers. That's what I do. But also too, when you're looking down the sidelines, any college coaches now in today's present game that kind of impress you with their attire?
Nate Oates. I like his blazer game. His blazer game is strong, right? Obviously, like the Godfather of them all, Rick Pitino, like the Godfather. Like it's when he pulls out the all white, I'm like, "You son of a bitch. Yeah, you're that guy. You are that guy." And I like that. Like I wish I could do that. I can't do that. So like I do. You do know when there's a guy out there that's like he's got a little something to him. Dennis Gates, man. Dennis Gates has always been sharp too. D Gates. I worked with D Gates at Northern Illinois, and D Gates always he's been sharp, and he's been sharp ever since. He's always clean. And so I would say like those three right there off the top of my hat are the ones that I'm looking at. Like, yep, they're still doing it. I love it.
So now that you're back in Wyoming, you're going to bring it back to the roots with like a little cowboy hat and some boots on the sideline?
No, I'm not. No.
Some chaps.
Listen, I don't know how you move with boots on the sideline, right? Like that's for a bigger man than me. That's not my mountain to climb, right? So I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. How's the welcoming been in Wyoming?
Well, Wyoming's awesome. I mean, it's when you're from Wyoming, you just understand the people. You understand how we roll out here. But it's like any other place, man. Like they expect you to be great, right? This is I wouldn't expect it any other way, man. There's no like, oh, let's just wait for a couple of years and see. Like they want you to be great. They want you to be great right away, like any other fan base should, right? And that's what makes every spot unique and every spot special. If you went into a job that expected mediocrity, then you'd probably the wrong spot, right? But I know this, and this is what I know about the state of Wyoming, is that it is hard to get to Laramie in the middle of the winter. And so you better put a competitive brand of basketball out there. And I always say we have two goals every year, is to be the most connected, most competitive team on our schedule. I didn't say the most talented. I didn't see the team that's tallest, the strongest, the fastest, most connected, most competitive, because that's Wyoming. Wyoming's a connected state. All four corners, they know everything about you, what you're doing. And when they come out to support you, they want to feel connected to your program. And they value competitiveness. They value hard work. They value showing up every single day, even when the circumstances are against you. We got a hell of an issue going on right now up in the northeast corner of the state with some of our wildfires. And every single rancher, every single neighbor is out there fighting it. Not only is the fire department fighting it, but the ranchers, the neighbors, the communities are coming together. I mean, it's some of the worst fires we've had in a while. But that's the community. The community is not going to wait for somebody else to do the job. They're going to roll up their sleeves. They're going to go do the damn job themselves. And that's how you have to be as a Wyoming cowboy and a cowgirl. Is you can't look around for help. You got to go roll up your sleeves and do the damn job yourself.
I think he's ready, Sam.
LT, let's do it. So coach, we do a little thing called the shot clock. LT is going to fire off 5-6 quick questions. First thing that comes to mind, just let it rip. If it leads to a little story.
Is this where Coach Coppin got like, he was like,
man. Like Coach
Him
Coppin.
and many others.
Yeah. If it leads to a story, just go there.
Do I have to quick answer, or is it a story? Like, what's shot clock?
Both. It can be either or.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. If we're not gonna sound the horn or anything like that if you get going. So LT, let's let it rip.
She would. Please sound the horn.
Yeah. What is your spirit animal?
Panther.
Love it. Yes.
Okay. If your name wasn't Sundance, what would it be?
Alex.
Alex Wicks. Hello, I'm Alex Wicks. I like
and
it.
Ironically, my brother married, his wife's name is Alex. So
no way.
I always said my name would be Alex because there was a neighbor in South Dakota. His name's Alex McNabb. And by my grandma's place when I was growing up. And I always hated having to explain my name when I was a little kid. I just couldn't explain it. I had no idea. Now I tell like a choose your own ending story. I have like 3 different stories and choose your own ending. And I never tell the actual truth about where I got my name. So nobody actually knows where it came from. But I always said I'd rather have the name like Alex, because then nobody asks you like, well, where'd you get that name? Like there's like, oh, hey Alex, nice to meet you. Like nobody just like, hey Alex, that's a weird name. Like, we should talk about that, Alex. That's so weird.
Yeah, no, we had Gloria Navarra as your commissioner on, right, a couple days ago, and she said Sundance Wicks, best name in college athletics. That's what she said.
She said best name in college football first.
Well, she had football on her mind because it's that week. But yeah.
Well, the combination of last year at Green Bay was phenomenal. Sundance Wicks and Foster Wonders. I mean, that was a hell of a combination.
If there was a candle scent made after you, what would it be?
Bourbon vanilla tobacco.
Oof.
Bourbon vanilla tobacco. Coach Mills at Wichita State we just had, he said tobacco and vanilla.
He was vanilla tobacco too a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Bourbon in there, quick shout out to bourbon.
Coach Mack had the best one, eucalyptus mint, but we won't go there. One word to describe the University of Wyoming.
One word, you can't do one word. It's cowboy tough. It's cowboy tough.
That's 2.
I know, but you can't do one word. One word, okay. Tough, man.
Okay. Yeah, he can hashtag it.
Wyoming's full of tough guy towns. TGT, tough guy towns.
Oh.
One word to describe the Mountain West Conference.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It is a brutal league. I mean, like 6 bids last year. It's a gauntlet every night. When we were here 21-22, it was the court storming sensation. Everybody's storming the court for no reason, no apparent reason. It was just a year of the court storm. I mean, like that people are like, well, we got to stop these court stormers. And the announcers are finally like, no, let it happen. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole Mountain West is doing it. Let it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brutal.
The best court storm I saw last year was one person storming the court. No one came with, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was like Mississippi Valley State or something like that. Funniest recruiting story. Give me a funny recruiting story. I'm sure you have many, but just give me one.
I don't like recruiting. It's awful. It's so hard. You don't get many funny. You get like sad funny. It's like sad. It's like almost like sad funny. Where like you just screw it up. But my funniest recruiting story is that it was actually my recruiting story. And so this was back, when, the cash handshakes, you really thought like that was back when Blue Chips was on. Rex Walter, shout out Blue Chips. You thought your entire recruiting experience was going to be like, he got game and Blue Chips. All right. And that's where you're like, oh, hey, this could be fun. And so Bob Olson is the head coach at Northern State University. Him and Paul Sather's now the head coach at North Dakota. Paulie, they did a phenomenal job driving 7 hours to Gillette to recruit me. They're driving all the way across the Great Plains of South Dakota and out to 426 Forest Road, Gillette, Wyoming, 8 miles outside on a gravel road. And they get there, and they've been recruiting me for like a year and a half. And they get in there, and Bob Olson sits down at the table. My parents, they made a cake. They did a whole nine, and Bob's in there. And my dad's name is Mark, and my mom's name is Barb. Okay. And so we're sitting at the table, and Bob's goes, let me tell you something, Steve. And he's talking to my dad, and my dad's name is Mark. He's like, let me tell you something, Steve. We really like your son. I mean, we've told you we wouldn't be driving out here this many times, Steve, to see your son. And my dad just starts calling Coach Olson by the wrong name just in spite right now. And so I'm sitting there, this is the debacle. This is going nowhere fast. I have 2 offers right now. I have Northern State University and Wayne State out of Nebraska, who Greg McDermott was the coach at the time. Right? So my 2 offers are Northern State and Wayne State. And I'm like, well, this recruiting business off to a swimmingly start right now. By the end of the night, they got their names right. And my dad sold me to Bob Olson in Northern State for 7 pheasants and a hunting pheasant trip in the probably Mobridge, Harriet, Mound City area of South Dakota. So I was the guy who actually, you to talk about illegal recruiting. I was sold for 7 pheasants to Bob Olson in Northern State. That was probably the greatest shining moment of my life, right there. If Greg McDermott ever wonders why I never committed to Greg McDermott, is because my dad took the 7 pheasants. What he did there. So,
and the rest is history. Let's ask a serious question. What is the one arena you've always wanted to coach in?
Cameron Indoor. No questions asked. I always wanted to coach at Cameron Indoor. I mean, people like I'm a fair weather fan. I had one channel growing up, right? We had NBC, lifetime contract. Watched Notre Dame football, right? Back in the day, it was the Chicago Bulls played on the 49ers were awesome in the 90s, right? And then obviously Duke basketball. And that was the stuff I got to see the most of. And it just that experience at Cameron Indoor was one of the ones where you're like, you know what? I'd like to take the Cowboys out there sometime.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen. What is the song that best describes you?
Kids Back in the Game. I can play it for you right now. No. So this was sent by Craig Case, a friend of mine, Craig Case, who's now one of the head volleyball coach, I think somewhere down in Alabama. But Back in the Game, I should play it for you. In my country files right here. Kids Back in the Game. It's on my driving playlist right here.
You heard that song before, Sam?
It's underground right here. Underground.
Is it Airborne?
The name of the artist eludes me, but the vibe for me is. Yeah, I digress. We could talk about this later at a later time. I'll send it to you guys so you can put it on the intro.
Yeah, no, I want to hear it. Yeah.
That's by Jim Bianco. Jim Bianco, Back in the Game.
Okay.
All right, we'll have to look out for that one. All right, last question. 2-part question. They're making a Hollywood movie about you. Who plays you in the movie, and what's the title of the movie?
Okay, I know who plays me. It's my doppelganger, it's Jason Statham. I mean, that's for sure who plays me. I mean, it has to be. There's no other. I mean, basically, like I'm as built like he is, kind of, ripped in the way, the facial hair, it's kind of the same, a lot of similarities between me and Jason Statham. The title of the movie, that one's going to elude me, but it's probably going to be like a remake of the Sundance Kid, but it's going to be more of like this kind of sci-fi thriller type thing. It's going to probably like some Doctor Strange stuff going on in there as well. It's multiversal type stuff, Jason Statham, but yeah, it's the remake of the Sundance Kid.
The return of Sundance.
Yeah, the return of Sundance. Almost like Man from Nowhere,
Oh God!
Oh, you won nothing, you got nothing, and half those questions I'm still kind of thinking about.
No, I love it. I love it. He fired off some quickly. That was quicker than pretty much anyone we've ever had. I will give you that.
I've thought about these things before. Like, what would my name be? The type of canvas I would have. I've thought about these things before. Spirit animal for sure.
Clearly.
I think one you should add is like, if you were a superhero, what would you be? And if you were a villain, like what villain would you be? And then you could really get into the psychology of all these. You're like, oh, I wonder why.
That's a good one. Yeah.
What superhero would you be then?
I'd be Batman.
Why?
Because Bruce Wayne is the filthy rich, right? Like, he's filthy rich. He's just a normal guy. He's just a normal guy who's filthy rich who decided to get a bunch of gadgets, right? Like, anybody can be Bruce Wayne. Like, anybody can be Batman. Like, it's not like you have to like actually go get bit by a spider and all.
Yeah, you weren't like born into some like majestic spirit or anything like that. Yeah,
all the other stuff's way too like hard. It's incomprehensible, right? Like for Bruce Wayne, it's just like I fell down. I have this trauma from these bats, and now I decided like that's going to be my alter ego and be Batman. But so I'm going to stay in the series though. My villain would be Bane. So like I'm Bane every Halloween. Every Halloween I'm Bane.
Are you really?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. I think you should mix it up and be Wonder Woman. just throw everybody for it's 2024. Everybody for a total curve.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not making it out of Wyoming. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure that's as receptive in Wyoming as it is in some other places.
I'm not going Wonder Woman on this, but this podcast is over now, right?
No, it's all good. No, Coach, the last minute, we're going to turn it over to you. And anything you want to share to the Wyoming faithful, boosters, alumni, student section, any games you have circled on the upcoming season, what you guys been working on?
I think the biggest thing is just the messaging that you send every single day, right? We talk about, in the middle of this podcast, we talked about becoming an everyday dude. And that is kind of our philosophy for building men, right? Is that you got to be an everyday dude when you're a father, when you're a husband. You can't take days off from that. And so going into life, right? I think a lot of this stuff is, yes, we coach college basketball, but we are leading, mentoring, teaching, future men, guys that have to grow up. And some of you may be coaching players that have kids already. And some of you may be coaching a player who will have a kid while you're coaching them. And how are you leading them? And how are you mentoring them? And how are you helping them learn what it's like to be an everyday dude? And it's pretty simple for us. Like our code, our accountability code is just show up, start showing up. Right. And I never want to sit here and tell the Wyoming fans, I need you out here to show up. Like, our job is to show up as players and as coaches. And then if you feel compelled to as a fan, then you show up, right? And then you do the right work. Show up, you do the right work, and then you serve others. And that's our accountability code, top down, sideways, is show up, do the right work, because you can do the work. Anybody can do the work, but is that work the right work? And then I always say there's a difference between leading and serving. Leading is telling people what to do, and serving is showing people what to do. And so if you continue to show up, do the right work, and serve others, I think good things will fall upon you. And I think if you could take those things into your life, in relationships, as a father, as a husband, as a boyfriend, whatever that is, show up for your partner, show up for your team, right? Show up for your kids, do the right work, help your kids do the right work, help your team do the right work, and then serve your wife, serve your kids, and serve your team. That's our accountability. Sideways, top down, left, right, diagonal, how you want to call it. That's just who we are and what we're about. And I think that's the messaging, the overarching messaging and mission for our program is bigger than basketball. It's not about winning and losing games. We all know that's part of the process. I always laugh when we try to do preseason goals and, I want to win. I want to win the championship. Well, no crap. We all want to win the championship. We all want to win the last game. Inside of that, like, what are we becoming? Who are we becoming in the process as we are going through this? The becoming part of this is huge. So just be, man, just be we always say, just be a great teammate, just be a good person, be a competitor, and be on time. The only time I want you to be late is for your damn funeral, but be on time for everything else.
Love it.
I'm kind of speechless now. I just feel like I'm gonna be a better person now, Coach Wicks.
Yeah,
I'm a better person already, baby.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do. We can just give, man. That's all we can do. We can give.
Yeah, I feel like you need to have a podcast like life lessons with the Sundance or something ridiculous.
Have some weird ambient music playing in the background.
Yeah.
Some sci-fi stuff, bigger than basketball with Sundance Wicks. Love it.
Yeah.
Baby.
We might be onto something here, Coach. But
you're gonna steal it. It's all yours. You can have it.
Let's do it.
You're gonna stick with us 1 second, but Coach, thanks for being with us, and we're really excited to follow you in Laradice. It's going to be really exciting what you put together this year and in future years. And we'll be back next week on the Full Court Press podcast, what is called a college basketball experience.
Let's get it, LC.